Hello and welcome back to my DIY. So as you guys have already seen by the title, this video is a DIY turning a extra large t-shirt into a t-shirt dress. Now I came across this really cool Motley Crue t-shirt in Kohl's and I immediately thought I would love this as a dress. So I watched a lot of YouTube videos, learned how to do all the things, and made my own t-shirt dress. So if you guys would like to see how I did it, and if you want to follow along, make your own t-shirt dress, just keep on watching. Now what you're going to need for this project are grommets, the grommet tool, a hammer, a piece of wood or something to put under the grommets, straight pins, 2 pairs of pliers, a sewing machine, thread, a chain, scissors, and time and patience. Now for me, I tend to range from a small to a medium in most women's clothing, so I picked up an extra large t-shirt. I would recommend trying on the t-shirt first just to make sure that it is the length that you want for your dress. It was a lot easier to already leave the dress as it was as far as length and have that nice hem already at the bottom. Alright, so the first thing I did was I laid my t-shirt down on the floor of my living room just so I could get the fabric laid out nice and flat. And then I took one of my favorite dresses that was very form-fitting and I laid that on top of my t-shirt just to kind of act as a pattern for me to cut around it. Now here's where I made a really big mistake. I used a dress that was really stretchy, so when I cut around it using it as my pattern, what I cut was way too small. So don't do what I did, use a dress that is not made of stretchy fabric and you should be fine. But that was my first big mistake when I did this and I was very sad, but luckily there was enough t-shirt material for me to just add that and obviously I was able to make the dress. And yes, I am wearing a Jack Skellington onesie here. I got it from Walmart and it is my favorite thing, so cozy. Alright, so then after I cut out my sides, I cut across the top of the t-shirt right to where I wanted my neckline to be, right above the Motley Crue design. And then I tried it on and realized that I needed more fabric in order to make it fit around me, so I took this side of the shirt with the sleeve and just cut off the sleeve part, that way I had more fabric to sew on to the dress. So once I did that, I put all the fabric together and I used straight pins to pin it onto my body as I was wearing it. I pinned up one side first and then I pinned the other side while it was on my body because I don't have a mannequin or anything else to put it on. If you have a dress form or a mannequin, that would be really helpful, but I do not have that. I also marked the edges of my cloth with chalk and that was really helpful later on as I sewed the edges together. Now here you can see there is a triangular piece where I had to add extra fabric because the original cut of the shirt was too small. So this kind of just forms a triangular piece down here and that way my dress was able to fit. So I also pinned that while I was wearing it as well. Now for the easy part, which is the sewing. Everything else before that was so hard and so frustrating, but once I got to the actual sewing part, it was super easy and it went very quickly. And before this, I have never actually used a sewing machine before, so I watched a lot of YouTube tutorials. I will link everything that I watched and used to learn down below in the description for you guys. Before this, I used to sew everything by hand, so this is a game changer. Now, one important thing that I learned while doing this is that in order to make sure that your stitches don't come out, is that you need to lock them down. But locking your stitches is very important, and what that means is that when you finish your stitches and you take it off the machine, then it won't just fall apart. So what you do to lock your stitches is you start stitching and then you go backwards and then forwards again. Now I wanted to make sure that my stitches were not going anywhere, so I did this several times, but you don't have to do it as many times as I did. And I locked my stitches at the top and the bottoms of everything that I sewed. And now for the grommets. What I did was I took my grommets and a hole punch and I just put where I wanted the bottom grommet to go and I put the hole punch through that and just kind of used a lot of pressure and wiggled around on the dress. Now I had practiced this before on a sample piece of fabric that I had cut off from the original t-shirt because I wanted to make sure I wouldn't screw up the dress after doing all this and getting this far. So just be really gentle if you do use a hole punch or leather punch like this, and that way you just want to get the hole started and then you can take it off and you'll see there is a little tiny hole there. You want to make sure the hole is small. It's much easier for you to start with a small hole because if you have a really big hole, that's a better chance of the material to just stretch and tear open. So the smaller the hole, the better. So then you want to take your eyelet toolkit and use that to close up your grommets. Now you want to put the top of your eyelet on first, and that's the part that you're going to see when you finish the dress. And on the opposite side, you want to put the shallow half of the eyelet over the center. And then you want to put the eyelet on top of the little rubber anvil that's included, and then put the metal part onto the top of the eyelet as you see here, and just hammer gently down until the metal folds over onto itself. It was a lot easier for me to follow along with this when I watched someone else do it, so hopefully that helped you guys too. And there you have it, your finished grommet or eyelet, whichever you'd like to call it. And then I just repeated that process on each side of the split, where I had 4 on each side. So I had 8 in total when I was all done. Now you can use a piece of thread or fabric or even parts of the t-shirt itself to make a kind of crisscrossing corset style lace up on the bottom here, but I wanted to do chains. And this is the chain I got from Walmart, which is a 20-inch chain, and I ended up having some left over. So what I did was I took 2 pairs of pliers, and then I used the pliers to pry apart each piece of chain that I wanted to go into the dress. And then once they were on in the spot that I wanted, I used the pliers to close them up. And then I just repeated that for each piece of the chain that I wanted on the dress. Now the nice thing about these chains is that if you want to make them bigger or smaller, you can. All you have to do is just do the same thing and take a piece off of the chain or add a piece on. And there you have it, the finished 4 chains on the bottom of the dress. And that is it, guys! I'm really happy with how this came out, but oh my gosh, this was kind of insane. I learned so much doing this project. I was super happy with how everything came out, and I may do this again. But there are a couple of times, not gonna lie, I really want to just give up and scrap the whole thing. I'm really glad I didn't, because now I have this awesome dress. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something along with me. And let me know down below in the comments if you'd like to see more DIY videos. I already have 1 or 2 things planned, but if there's anything in particular you would like to see, just let me know. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!